Hi, friends, and welcome to the Illuminati Film Room. Colin Sherwin, along with Cedric Padilla, Robert Steeg, and super genius Seth Varnadore. Guys, this is a glass of wine from Haven down here in South Tampa. Again, Haven, owned by the Burns Group, right next door. They have a delicious happy hour. This is literally a glass of wine from them. Steeg, what do you got there? You got a raspberry white claw. Is that what you're going with? Cedric,
Looks like it.
Cedric, you have.
Uh,
Well, Cedric, where's
I have
you have
a
a
Spindrift, a
a
very
Spindrift.
Seattle drink this evening.
That's super Seattle, especially on a Monday. And Seth,
Right.
you have a bottle of Evian, I believe. Yes, Evian.
Mhm.
So we have two people here to keep this late. But first of all, we want to thank our sponsors, Matrix Hormones, that are making this possible. 813-333-2226. Again, that's 813-333-2226. We've made enough jokes about the USF offense being impotent this season on these ad reads, so let's make one more. Don't be the USF offense like they were against Temple. Um, Matrix Hormones is the best place to go if you are either male or female and just not feeling like yourself. If you're getting older, if you're feeling a little run down, a little bit tired, things just don't seem to be going the way that they used to. Again, that's 813-333-2226. Also check them out at matrixhormones.com. They are a place where they will make sure they will put a program together that will completely customize to your specific body type to make sure that you are the man or woman that you once were and to bring back the levels that you need to perform at your best in all aspects of life. Yes, I'm talking about bedroom as well. 813-333-2226. Again, that's matrixhormones.com. 813-333-2226. Tell them that the Daily Stampede and the Blue Illuminati podcast sent you. Okay, Seth. So I watched the game, pretty closely watched the first half. Kind of didn't really get super granular on the second half because I was like, well, this thing's
Intoxicated.
full. That too, but I was also more like, really, we're never coming back here, and this is really bad, and it looks terrible. You could just tell from the jump that this was not going to be a game where USF was going to be competitive. Um, and let's just jump right into it because it didn't look so great, that's for sure.
Yeah, and you'll see here, just it didn't look great, but it wasn't the worst part is it's not really far off from looking pretty good. But
But we say that every week. The problem is they don't execute because they don't have the right players to be able to execute the things that they're trying to do. Correct?
well,
Fair?
yeah. All I'm trying to show is, especially offensively, is with coaches coming in late that didn't get a chance to recruit. All they can be judged on is what plays are being called. I think because they didn't recruit the players to that are playing right now. So that's what I like to look at. What plays are being called? Does it make sense? And you'll see that a lot of it makes sense, and it's one or two things away. But especially against a good defense like Temple, I don't. And if anybody thought Temple wasn't a good defense coming into the game, just if you looked at even my preview last week, I talked about you could really get pressure with four defensive linemen very easily. It allows them to play a bunch of different coverages behind it. And then it allowed them to just really pack the box too, because they didn't have to blitz. They could kind of play in the run gaps, and that kind of stifled the run game. But there was some good stuff and stuff that's really close to hitting, but you can't. There's no margin for error against a team that's that good on defense. So we'll take a look at it, but we'll start with the USF
One
defense here.
one last thing before that we get into this.
Mm.
Are we showing the Jannard Phillips drop? Is that in here?
I don't have it. We could go. We could go find it.
Okay, because my heart still hasn't. My heart is still on in the 100 section of Raymond James Stadium after watching that drop. So anyway, continue.
We'll pull it back up for you. You've got your
Oh,
glass of
thank
wine,
you.
so you'll be there. You'll be there. All right, so this is 4th and 1 on Temple's first drive of the game. So short yardage. USF comes out in what looks pretty close to a bear front almost, where it's almost the three interior guys are covered up. It's hard to tell if he's covering him up or he's just inside shade of the tackle. And then you got two out here. So even if they're going to blitz this linebacker in the A gap, I believe. So even if you keep this tight end here, you're still got decent shot of having the linebacker spring free. what Temple ends up doing is running split zone. So they take him away. They have to get out here, out there. The nose eats up the center. Back here, they eat up the backside lineman. So that allows this defensive tackle to come free. And then even if he was blocked, you'll see you have the linebacker coming through here to make a big stop on 4th and 1 early in the game here.
Is this just a horrible play call by Temple? Like they're running towards the boundary here in 4th and 1. Like, why are you going to the boundary on 4th and 1?
They ran split zone the play before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they think they're going to get man coverage, so maybe they'll get somebody to jump over with it with the tight end. Yeah, I don't know. Like, if this is one where if I'm the quarterback here, and I see right now with him leaving, I got 2 almost outside this tackle. That's going to be tough for these guys to get there, especially with the nose here eating that up. So you really end up getting 2 coming free here. So yeah, this would be one I'm sure they'd like to have back. But this is
I was
what
about
they
to
ran.
say they ran the split zone about 4 or 5 times this drive on short yardage and managed to get 3 or 4 yards every time. So I don't think it was a bad play call. I think USF just adjusted really well right here.
Yeah, this is good going to this front. Maybe they weren't quite ready for it. And this is and so you're able to get that penetration quick. And even if they had a blocker for him, you had the linebacker going. So I'm not sure if this was a tendency they had, but they had the middle linebacker coming through as well. And you're able to get guys off blocks and rally for a big play early in the game. So that was kind of a change up. I don't know how often they go to this bear front. I know they did a little bit, something similar at times against Navy, but they also went to more of a typical odd oaky front. So that's one early. Yeah.
So question here. I understand that the frustration of USF fans, especially watching the offense, but I mean, if you only give up 17 points to anybody in college football at this point, especially with a turnover or 2, that's probably playing pretty good football. I don't think anyone complained about the way the defense played on Saturday.
And you'll see, that's why you'll see there's not a ton from the defense here because kind of the same way we talked about against ECU last week. Being gap sound isn't the most exciting thing to see. So we're not going to show just a lot of perfect run fits. I do have the touchdown on here because there was a missed call, I thought, by the referees, and also maybe a way they could have played it a little bit better. But that'll be kind of the only other thing you see from the defense because they played so well on Thursday. You couldn't really ask much more of them.
I was about to say, in the preview that I had with Temple, Temple has a really good offensive line. Matt Hennessy, who actually ended up getting injured late in the game. I think something with his ankle, but he would have been an all conference had I don't know how the extent of his injury, but I mean he's playing all conference center right now. I mean he's incredible and he's a walk on.
I think they were saying on the broadcast he's like a top 10 center for the draft coming up. Mm-hmm. And then I was told they were also saying on the broadcast that the broadcast team thought that every single one of Temple's front 7 was going to get drafted eventually.
Very well could be.
So you're not exactly playing UConn. All right, so here's just kind of I think it's the first play of the next drive. So kind of a jet sweep look here. Let it run. But I don't know if they get to the second part, but you notice it's not just a straight jet sweep here. So right here, even if you blocked it straight zone, with him being a lead blocker, you have the numbers. You have even numbers, right? You have one there, and then the corner comes down, linebacker comes out, you got the back for him, right? What they're actually doing is going here, their lead blocker, and they're going to read. They're going to read that end and leave him alone. You see here, they leave him unblocked. They're going to read him. They end up giving it here, and he doesn't get touched until he's 8 yards downfield.
That's bad fit by Temple, though, isn't it? I mean, just on matchup, like that's even with the unblocked guy. I mean, you're looking at 3 against 2 to the boundary there, right? I mean, you got one there,
This
one
is
there.
tough. I mean, you can fly him down, but this is also Wilcox coming off the ball. He may hold it for a second just to make sure Wilcox isn't slipping that, because he does draw a lot of attention. And their safeties aren't very good. That's another thing I talked about in the previews. Their safeties weren't very good. I thought especially fitting on the run. But just so we kind of see, even though we didn't run it, we'll see what the idea is for the read. So I'm going to second level there. I'm there. I'm here. Leave him on block. So we're going to get double team back to there. Back. Gap seal hinge. The backside guard is going to pull. So they're basically running power read in the end instead of blocking him. So watch if let's say McLeod keeps this one. Let's say the end goes out and McLeod keeps it. So now there's your pulling guards coming right here. And so there's the other hole that would be created by it down the line. So that's
hold on. One very important thing. At the top of the screen there, the guy kneeling on that tarp is me. So
here?
Yeah, that's me. So actually the reason why I bring that up is because watching that live, from the angle that I think McLeod probably could have kept that either way. Yeah, there it is. I think McLeod could have kept that either way. I think this play would be beautiful with Jacques Evans running it. And obviously...
Yeah, because you can see, this is kind of, you're like, if this guy wants to come up and fit Collin, then the quarterback pulls it, and now you get this block, and there's nobody left. So that's kind of that's the design of it.
And you talk about the Temple. I mean, I saw Temple in 2 high safeties all night long. And you can see the guy to the free side there just sort of drifting, and I guess they're 3-on-2 down there. But like otherwise, actually I guess that's 2-on-1 on the outside, isn't it? They have that doubled up out there, don't they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. So they have 2 guys on the outside safety or the outside wide receiver that you can't see here. So
yeah, the 2 was here. He goes head up on 2. He probably split the difference. He saw the motion, came back in the box. They played some cover 2, but they play a lot of quarters too, where these guys got eyes on 2. I think here they're probably playing cover 2. It looks like.
I saw a lot of cover 2. I mean, at least from the stands, and it's always harder to see there. But I saw a lot of cover 2, and I saw a lot of like get deep, which means they thought that they could get pressure with 4, that they could get good run fit, because it just seemed like they had no desire to walk anybody down or blitz for any reason whatsoever.
No, and that's not really that's kind of their MO. I thought it was strange, and we'll go to the next play. Because that's how they played Memphis too. And I'm like, you guys are just going to sit in too high and just let people run the ball at you. But that's kind of how they play. I thought it was kind of strange, but that's the way they want to do it. So here, you end up getting, so this is something where by stacking, you make them bring 2 out here. So right here, this is the safety that's come down. There's the other safety. So you've gotten 1 linebacker out of the box here. Here's your other linebacker here. And your corner. And your other corner there. And then your middle linebacker is stuck right here in the middle. So the idea behind this is going with this stack. How they typically play is they'll probably bring this linebacker out too, is what you're thinking. Leaving you a 5-man box. They end up bringing this linebacker. And they have an option out here. So they're going to run like a counter play. But they have the option, if it's 1/2 out here, to throw it. So he's just going to turn, show his numbers. He's got the option to throw it, or he can give it in here. You'll kind of see. He throws it out here.
Are they running the same wide receiver concept to both sides? Yeah, possibly.
So basically, out here, you're going to keep 4 guys occupied with the
Right.
receiver action. And then inside here, you see nobody covers up. So it's really, I wouldn't count, when a guy's 10 yards off the ball, you don't really count him. You'll say, all right, I'm going to count guys that are up the line of scrimmage. So he's right up here. You have a guy at line of scrimmage, and then he's within 5 yards. So if you're within 5 yards, I'd count you. Right here, you have 1. Nobody else is within 5 yards except this linebacker who blitzes. So the quarterback does a good job here getting the ball out of his hands. And then, unfortunately, despite him being such a great player, unfortunately, the guys you're throwing these balls to are not guys that can make you miss because they don't really have any. That's the unfortunate part. You'll see later they throw into Bryce Miller, who's literally only got the safety to beat, and he just tries to almost run it out of bounds. If that's Johnny Ford, it's probably a touchdown. So there's stuff like that that's also tough. But they also have a...
That seems like a really weird... I mean, I feel like it should have been the other way around as far as pass catching versus pass blocking here for the receivers at the bottom with Wilcox and... Is that Randall St. Felix?
It's Clairvaux.
No, Sarah Clairvaux. I mean, I get
so
it.
Make sure it's called, I guess. So inside they're doing this. We're down. He's coming. He ends up almost kicking out the way they run this because they're running with this blitz off the edge. Temple slanting. So if you do give this one.
See, that ball got out pretty quick. So
Yeah.
Is Wilcox's positioning here not where it? I mean, if it's just turn and show your numbers. Okay, can we run this? Because if it's just turn and show your numbers here, so so Dr. Clairvaux, MBA, ABD has got to probably do a better job there.
Yeah.
To hold the block.
You don't want to.
Because what are you looking for? That one-on-one with the safety? You got it here. I mean, if Clairvaux holds his block, you've got your one-on-one with the safety.
The problem is
Chappelle Russell comes in so quick, though.
He's slow off the ball. Well, no, I think it's all good, except he's a little slow off the ball, and then he starts breaking down, and he's catching instead of blocking. You still get one-on-one with the safety, but like I said, you're throwing to the tight end who you know is going to catch it and is going to punish somebody in open space, but he's not going to make anybody miss. But still, first down, pick up 3 or 4.
What was the flag on the play? What was the flag?
That was roughing the passer with targeting. That was when Chappelle Russell got.
This was the targeting call.
Okay.
But this is so when kind of I know one of the big sticking points by a few people was how many times they threw the ball. Well, they ran a lot of this kind of stuff where it was packaged with. I'm just reading numbers, especially with the young quarterback. If I can just look out there and all I got to know is, do I have more guys out there than they do? Yes, throw it. No, hand it off. That's pretty easy to manage for anybody.
For those that are inclined to throw Bell under the bus for some of the play calling and everything, that is exactly how Gulf Coast offense worked as well. Obviously, with the success that Quentin Flowers had in it, it was purely numbers. It was where do I match up best? Are my receivers? Is the guy really deep off? Good, I'm going to throw it to my receivers. That was the Gulf Coast offense in itself. So
this is basically a called run play with just this attached to it outside. Mm-hmm. That's just attached, but the call is a run play. So, but everyone's was kind of one of the big things people were harping on after the game was they dropped back and passed so many times. Well, this is kind of it counts as a pass in the stat book, but in the huddle or in the signal in was probably a run play. Because you can see them running the run play here.
They threw 38 passes. That's not an unreasonable number in modern college offense. How many total plays was it? Look, but McLeod was 23 of 38, so it's totally reasonable.
And with the sacks and the scrambles, that's where it's getting up a little higher. But still, it's you weren't able to 38. Run the ball.
Yeah, 38 passes, 37 rushes. That's balance. It didn't work, but they're balanced there.
So then if we look at just the run play itself, because if they play it down here like they did up here, which they have shown in the past, they'll play it like this on both sides, to where this linebacker's out of the box. Obviously, they're not going to be. They won't be slanting inside, but still, you'd have if you're not looking. So kind of disregard this guy. Imagine he's out of the box. Now you're handing the ball off with a lead blocker out here, with the linebacker ran with the counter step. So now there's a possible big run play. But they brought that guy, kind of brought another guy in the box, so you throw it out there and just take what they give you.
And that's dude, on 1st and 10, that's a fine play. I got no problem with that play at all.
So here's another. So one of the big things, yeah, take it and let's keep going, right? Yeah. If they give you 3, so here's one that's kind of it's a sack. This one's kind of on the Jordans plural here. So I think all we're running here is stick. So we got a go route, an out route, stick route where he can hook up or possibly come out. They end up playing cover 2, and he's clouding this pretty hard. He doesn't really pedal. He doesn't really give ground. The safety's getting higher over the top. What you'd like to have done is a hole shot right here to this go route. But if not, here he takes it. Then you got to try to fit it on the tight end. This is a 3-step drop. The ball's got to be out of your hands fast, right? Especially with a team that can get pressure on the quarterback. You got a new left tackle in here. So instead of putting too much pressure on him, we'll kind of slide away. And they end up sliding to him more often later just because we'll give him the guard cell. Back comes on the edge. The ball should be out, so he goes to cut. Ball should be out quick. We'll roll through it here. You can see Jordan looks outside first. Right there, if he sees that, I got to throw it in the hole just 100 miles an hour. Just try to fit it in that hole right now. It's tight, but that's the throw. That's the throw that, the better quarterbacks in college football are making. As soon as I see this guy here, throw it in that hole, let him run to it. But you don't like it. You think you might turn the ball over. You don't want to take it. So your eyes adjust. His eyes should be coming back here. This one right here, I just put it low in front of Mitch. Put it on his big body. Let him box this guy out and just put it on him and take 5 yards. Take 5 or 6 yards. That's kind of on stick. That's kind of your outlet, especially if you have a good tight end. Because he can kind of read the coverage. He's not going to break out if this guy's sitting there. So you can almost, you should know that he's going to hook up right there and just put it low, give him a chance to catch it. And then in the backfield here.
What route is Clairvaux running here? Is this just a look at me, look at me, look at me? Is that what in the book is a look at me route?
He may have had a slant, and then the corner, they like to play where he'll jump inside and like almost trap routes. So he treated like a corner blitz and then tried to get back out.
I think that's actually a really good pickup by Clairvaux instead of just running a slant, right? He could basically run to the sideline where he's going to be covered the entire way. He actually looks to come outside a little bit with no one was covering.
Yeah, so I think he probably had a slant. This guy jumped inside. He thought it was corner blitz. So instead, with the corner blitzes, they might have him just kind of get width and just hope the quarterback gets the ball out to him. Mm-hmm. I think we've seen that to St. Felix a couple times this year. But the corner kind of just jumps inside and is almost trapping inside routes. But the problem is back here. You got to get the ball in your hands because you're going to have your back on an end, and he's not going to, he's just got to get a piece. Like right there, the ball should be coming out. That's enough. This isn't a great job by your tailback, but that's enough against a good defensive end.
That keeps your quarterback clean. That's a block to keep your...
Now, he does a good job escaping and has to throw in the dirt, but this is one where, especially with that big tight end that you trust so much, just bang, put it on his body right now. I'd just be waiting for him to turn and stick it on him. You might get hit, but just stick it on him right there. Get 5 or 6 instead of having to settle for 0.
So if we go back and like watch him, so let's assume that like Mitch is number 2 here. So then, okay,
he'll go 1, 2, 3. I think is what. So he'll go bang.
So if Mitch is number 3, that's even. So even if it's even tougher if it's Mitch is number 3. So then here,
but it's it just takes your eyes. I'm looking there,
right?
And he doesn't like it because I don't know why. I like right here. You could take that.
He sees the safety dropping. He sees the safety high, and he's got the guy,
But
in
yeah,
front of him there.
that's
All
a whole
right.
shot you can make. But yeah, I could see why he's like, okay, I don't like it. It's a little cloudy. Then I look out here.
Okay.
I don't like that because I think the corner's going to drive on it. So here's
Right.
my third options right here. Just stick. If I'm looking at him
Pump
as
it in
my
there.
third option, yeah, just throw it low. And if you miss low. He'll probably catch it if you give him a shot.
Sure.
Just don't throw it 100 miles an hour up high.
But there are two bodies standing there too, which probably for a freshman quarterback, this just seems like
Yeah,
where's
but
the separation
yeah,
from the receivers here too, and they're not.
yeah. So
It's not
he's
like
looking
they're
here and then trying to come back there, but he's just got to know it's a three-step drop. It's the ball's got to be out of my hand by the time maybe if he was under center, the timing of it would be in his head a little bit more. But I'm sure he gets drilled on that all the time. Kerwin's big deal is he wants you to hit your last step and have the ball out. He doesn't want a lot of hitching. Everything's designed to kind of, work on time with each other. So if it's a three-step drop, that ball's got to come out.
What about Clairvaux taking that deep and going 1v1 with the safety there, going outside because he's got full outside release there if he wants it. Like
I don't trust it.
instead of flipping here, why can't he just go 1v1 with that safety?
What I think ends up happening, what I think is they probably have a slant code on the backside because a lot of times you'll want to stretch this. So I'm trying to stretch one of these
Sure.
guys to the flat, then basically isolate him. If he takes the stick away, I'm coming to the slant backside. Right? So what ends up
Right.
happening, he jumps in front, and then you have this guy kind of drop back underneath it, and there's no slant coming into the window. So I think he basically, I don't think he did a bad job for thinking it was corner blitz. It just kind of, this is one where, the concept is to get out of your hands quick. He probably read corner blitz, so he tried to get width. But yeah, you could try to fit him in this. I mean, this is kind of the slant would be coming into this area, kind of,
Right.
and that you could try to fit that in
well,
there. But
I'm even thinking like maybe even like a sluggo on the outside. Like you could, even like if you see that, I mean, it's tough to make that adjustment, I'm sure. But,
yeah,
and then the other thing is, I think the right defensive end is lined up in the neutral zone, no call.
let's see.
Let's see. You got to head in the neutral zone. It's close.
Nah, close.
It's close, but probably not. Okay.
So here's one. So right here, they're wanting them to team, so they're there. Team back to him. Here, he's coming inside for this backer. One thing you don't really want to do on zone is turn your shoulders. You want to keep your shoulders square as a lineman, square and upfield. So the center here turns his shoulders and basically gives this lane up to this linebacker. And that's not the H-back's man. They should be double teaming to him. And so instead of having a nice lane here where the H-back's there, and I've got this linebacker here by the center, and I've got a little lane to run through right there, I allow run through, and hard run gets me 1 yard. But if I could have blocked that a little bit better, I got the safety split, and there's nobody left in the middle of the field here. So if I can just get that reached and then get there, they do a pretty decent job on this side. He's coming for that. This is something they ran against. I think this is one they ran against UConn really well, who also left like only 1 or 2 backers in the box a lot.
So if they're trying to double the, I guess that's the 3 technique there, the left 3 tech.
He's a like a
he's a 1. Oh, he's a 1. Yeah, he is a 1.
He's
okay.
moving across though.
Yeah, so like if he's a 1, if he's lined up as a 1, so if Cecil's going to double there, doesn't he? He's got to shed that, right? This is on Brad Cecil, isn't it?
Yes, you don't want. What his problem is you can step here, and guys teach double teams differently. Some guys teach like step to his crotch or step to his inside, his step to his number with your inside leg or whatever. But the key is staying square. So my head is up facing downfield and I can kind of see what's happening. You'll see he turns his shoulders. He doesn't keep his shoulders. You want to keep those shoulders parallel to the line of scrimmage. So you'll see here, he turns. And once you turn like that, now he's trying to get pushed down. Once you turn, it's hard to get back square because I'd like to be square to here where I can just give a hand and just give with my right hand there if I'm Cecil. Help, the guard comes and overtakes it, and then I can climb to the next level. Right here, you see how he's kind of reaching back late?
I was about to say that is the telltale sign of a missed block on the offensive line. If you, I mean, you can almost see it in his eyes from where the camera is that he knows he missed the block.
So he's trying. He's trying to really, sometimes we'll say if there's like a half man off, put him back on for this guy. So you want to collision him, put him right. And so instead of being a half body outside, they're head up now because I help push him back on. But he kind of gets caught up there too long. And if I don't get caught up there and I can get to this backer, well, now I've got to play.
And that's an easy, even if that's Trevon Sands, those two split safeties right there, Trevon Sands isn't the fastest running back, but he at least gains probably like 8 or 9. Kelly Joyner probably breaks that for a touchdown.
They're coming up, they're coming to fill out here too.
Yeah.
So they're not looking. And this is a good sign right here. If you watch the left guard,
bullied him.
Does a pretty good job.
Really good.
The back has to cut back out, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, and that's just a very small detail of, hey, you cannot turn your shoulders. If you got to keep your shoulders square, but that kind of small detail killed the play.
Brad Cecil started a lot of games for USF at this point, so
you're not going to be perfect every play. But
I was about to say he's usually pretty solid.
Yeah.
So here's one.
He's definitely the most solid of the 5 offensive linemen. He's definitely been the most solid this season.
So here is, looks like Dart.
Some kind of counter, isn't it?
This is tight ends here.
Yeah.
Down. He's head up, so he kind of ends up taking him. I think if he is a 1, they'll double team him back to here. There. Now the tackle's pulling. Usually eyes inside, but he ends up doing a good job picking up here. And this is Joyner in the backfield. This is the one he just about breaks here. Right here, pretty good job at the point of attack. This is probably the best run of the night. New left tackle coming in doing it. That's a good job right there.
Is up? Yeah, that's Hopple.
You got your back one on with the safety. He makes a miss, and then the corner ends up making the play, but it's a 12-yard run.
That's good football.
Yeah, and the formation. They kind of understood how they played these trips looks, the trips open looks, as they would, there were times where they put 4 out over there, or kind of 3 out over, and then 1 in the middle. So you basically got 4 guys out of the box with your trips look, let your tight end back here to set the front. So by formation, you kind of get the box you want.
Seth, that's that 3x2 though as well that we've been looking for. Also, look at that outside to the wide side of the field there. That's 3-on-2 out there. He could, if there's a quick throw here, there should be a quick throw as well with this, right?
He could take that. You could take that and really try to maybe get him out here.
I'm sure there's a check with me hot route here. Like, if that linebacker's not creeping out too much, because that linebacker is basically out of the play. The one right by the top of the USF logo.
They may have this may be one where they're like, all right, we feel pretty confident this is what they're going to line up in, so we won't give him the option because if that's the box we get, we want to run into that. But yeah, you could treat that as 3-over-2 out there and really whip it out there. But with the guys you have out there, I'd rather just run it into the lighter box. If you had some studs out there, I could just throw it out there in space. I would throw it out there. But so here's the very next play. Pretty much the same play here. And this is one that I thought is really close to hitting. That ends up, for one reason or another, they blitz into it, but you still block it pretty well. For whatever reason, I don't know if it's just if it's his track or it's just a little bit tight. But if we can get past this, it's the same play, the same dart. So here's one definitely you want to go. This is the one I'd be like, this is 3/2 for sure. Take that. They blitz it. They do a decent job picking it up. Right here, you're thinking, if I get pretty good push right there and I can just stay right there, now that's a huge seam for me because this is a pretty good job getting down. Don't get a lot of push. This kick out, he's kind of got to cut back inside and he gets kind of pushed back into it. Well, this is another one where there's a huge seam coming.
Hey, Seth, with apologies to Chuck and Carol Wilcox, who are apparently fans of our film room, what is Mitch doing here? Because it looks like
so this is a tough block, but when you have a puller, you're gonna gap, make sure that pulling guard or in this case tackle gap is spoken for first. So I'm gonna step down inside, make sure I don't have anything cross above my face because as we all learned in was it geometry, right? That's shorter than that, right? So I want to give him the longer path. Maybe that's algebra. I don't know. It's parabolic.
So 47 is just the unblocked. So he's just stepping in and leaving 47.
You're gonna step in and then hinge back for that. Now could he have done it? He could have done a little bit better job, maybe. But his job is I'm really gonna protect this inside gap first because I'll make him chase if I have to. If we get this blocked on the front side, this guy probably won't be a factor. And what they'll probably end up doing, I don't think they did it in this game, but what they could end up doing is eventually just start doing that, and then because I know they've done it in the past, and he can read this guy now, and then the quarterback can keep it. They'll start doing that. I'm sure you'll see that coming. But yeah, so he's kind of just stepping inside, protecting this gap for the puller, making sure I don't get any leak through here, and then I'll hinge back for it. Then I think he might have even got caught with a slant where the guy was going outside the whole way. But this is another one I just put it on there because I thought it was close to, maybe if I get this blitzer out, a little bit quicker. If I'm hitting him here instead of here, well, Joyner's hitting that thing 100 miles an hour right now. So that's another one that's close. This is a screen. The one thing that, so screen, you're going to go here, corner, invite upfield, there, and then your center's coming back here. So you're kind of putting the lane up and then come back between these two linemen, one-on-one with the safety. Maybe I get more play out of this guy with the motion, and I can get up to the safety. We'll kind of see what happens. But that's the idea of it as it's lined up right now. So right here, and you have this other guard coming to kill anybody. So you got this guard's coming back here to try to kill. They call that a rat killer. One of these guys, they call them rats if they try to get back into it. He's coming here to kill anybody that's kind of behind the play trailing it. But you should have right here your guard right there, your center making the lane right there. He's catching this ball and getting right up in that lane. The safety's taking himself out of the play because he's got eyes on number 2 because they're playing quarters. So I tell you right here, I get him blocked. Then he's got eyes turning for him. Looks like a pretty good play with the safety out of position. We miss the block on the backer. We don't get our eyes inside and miss the other backer.
That Atterbury?
Yep, yeah. So right here, if I said right here, this guy's supposed to block him, he's supposed to block him, he's getting the ball running in there, you'd probably say, well, that's going to be a really good play. But it ended up being okay play. You get 5 out of it, I think, on 2nd and 8 instead of This is what got you in the 3rd and 3, and then the 4th and 3 where you didn't convert.
I was gonna say this was
a drive killer, really.
yeah, this was great discipline by Temple's defense because I think I mean obviously coming from the high school experience, a lot of motion and that screen kind of fake screen to the halfback there. You know, that other linebacker, number 4, didn't even flinch.
Yeah.
You know, some of them will kind of cheat, but
yeah, you get exactly what you want here because now he's gone out, and now my center's just all he's got to do is turn back, and this guy's done.
yeah.
If I just get a good block, just go through his inside. If he goes around me, or if he tries to go around this block, if he's going to go there, I should be able to. Yeah, that's okay. He'll take himself out of the play. But this guy I highlighted him in my preview because I coached with the guys that coached him in high school. He was like a track receiver and track guy and a receiver in high school. He's really athletic. They got him playing linebacker now, but he was a really athletic kid. So it's not like a stiff linebacker you're out there against. It's really like a strong safety or a free safety type guy, really. So it's an open space. He kind of wanted open space, but if you get a better block there, that play might go for a touchdown instead of 5 yards, and then you end up not converting. So here again, you have a run play called. Right here, you have 2 over 2, but he's like almost 10 yards off. So I don't count a guy that's 10 yards off. The corner's probably up. But here I got 2 over 2. This is where you're like, if this is Johnny Ford, I don't even need to go back into the annals of USF history and skill guys from past. If this is just Johnny Ford, that's the safety.
They sell out from that side, which is really kind of surprising.
There's the corner. This is the safety. This is the safety. So the deepest guy on the defense on this side of the field is right there. If I say that's Johnny Ford, would you be like, I'll take this every day?
God, even if that's Xavier Weaver.
Sunday. Yeah.
Right? Unfortunately,
that's Cliff Dell.
Jesus.
This guy does a great job getting open, but this just isn't his game. Is not open field, right? This is just not his game. But this is kind of what, and he does a good job just kind of run away. He picks up 5, which is perfectly fine. But yeah, there's a safety, and you can see here, like kind of where that is where the next closest defender might be. So right there,
I can't believe that they're going to blitz from that. So they're playing. It's 2. I mean, technically it's 2 over 2, but that one's so deep. Yeah,
it's basically that's basically quarters, but they'll just say, "All right, I'll man this guy up." But look at that. It's basically It's basically almost like you can play quarters where it's basically 0, but I can come from depth. It's kind of what the idea is, and they're like, "All right." Because why wouldn't you? Are these guys going to beat me in man-to-man? No. So that's you're going to see that a lot. I think the rest of the year. And that's kind of what we talked about after the game is, hey, they kind of were like, all right, we're just going to sell out for the run. But right there.
And you can, look at that.
If you can make him miss, that's a touchdown.
Because there's nobody back there.
Yes, that's the safety.
There's nobody home. I can't believe. I'm like, look at that. And Wilcox, like, it's not like he's slow. I'm sorry.
That's Bryce Miller.
Yeah,
that's Miller. He's not slow to the ball, or that ball gets out quick. It's in rhythm.
This is like, just not. He's a great. This is just not his game. This isn't his strength. And the problem is that he's probably one of the better guys. He's probably their best slot by far. I think we'd all say based on the season so far, he's definitely the best slot they have.
Absolutely.
But this isn't his game. And if it was, if he can make that guy miss, now that might be there's another one that might be a touchdown. And it's just simple things, or I'm taking advantage of numbers outside.
Also, go back to that play for just 1 second because I want to point this out because I know you just kind of highlighted him. Sam Franklin is going to play on Sundays because, my God, the way he jumps this snap is just, beautiful. It's subtle, but, he kills a quarterback if...
You guys could tell me, was he a kid that was, I don't even think he was offered by USF. I don't think.
I don't. Name
I'm not
does not sound
positive.
familiar.
That was the last staff, I think. But he's a local kid. He's from about 45 minutes north.
If it was anywhere between the last like year and a half, he was definitely not recruited by USF. Let me see what he is.
Yeah, I think he was like a 13 or 12 or 13 kid. So he
Yeah,
was
there's
not.
no way.
Yeah. So here is a quarterback draw where the motion, you get what you want. You get him out of the box. He's kind of eyes here. He's got eyes here. Unfortunately, your guard goes. I don't know if he thought this linebacker was going to leave the box, but instead of blocking him, he's looking over here. And it's literally, if he's blocked, there's nobody left in the middle of the field. Because there's your safety coming, your other safety you can see.
Seth, what in God's name is he doing?
He's
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if he thought he'd carry the motion all the way out. But yeah, this is one I just got to see. If he doesn't carry the motion, I block him. Here's one safety. Here's the other safety. There's the other safety. And if this guy's gone, there's nobody
I
in
think
there.
I think that's him being out of his eye or his vision, just ever so subtly. And I mean, if I get where he was trying to go with it. I mean, just based off a pre-snap look, you would probably guess that. It doesn't make any sense though. Like, who is he looking for?
He's like down
He's
blocking.
zone.
I mean, he's like,
Yeah.
he's zone blocking towards the ball. I get that, but like, I mean, if there's nobody lined up over you or in the gap that's closer to the ball to you, then like just go hit somebody, anybody. That guy over there probably would be the best one. Look,
So if he's blocked, which it could be like maybe all week. They thought he's going to play the bubble more, so he got used to looking on that. But let's say he just like, oh, there's a guy right here, I'll block him. Which
gone. It's gone.
Yeah. So there you go. And that's again, that's the play after the play before. So like those are two plays in a row right there. That's a sequence. The bubble, and then this 2 plays in a row. All right. So then this is a little bit later. This is your third down out of your own end zone, which I thought this was a pretty ballsy call right here.
The screen.
And you'll see this is quite close again. So they've been playing basically man type looks all night. So we're going to run him in here and block. I think we're going to go and then release. Go and release. He comes with the receiver. So you have 2 guys for the one safety. And that's pretty much it. So if they get a piece of the
can you
safety,
say that again for me?
They have 2 guys for the safety. And the guard or whoever could turn back and look back inside and get him. But you have 2 guys for the safety because this is the only guy left. So this right here, the guy that makes the play at the end is this safety. Right here, you got the man coverage. You basically block 2 guys with this receiver. There's one block, and there's the corner. He gets back close into the play, but he's not going to make this play. He's taking himself too far out. So right here, there's the safety. You block him. I turn my eyes inside here. There's my path. I don't know if that's partially on the back there for just, he might be thinking, whatever, I just need to get the first down. But, if I stick my foot in the ground here and get right there, maybe it's a 95-yard touchdown. Because I have 2
Demetrius Harris? Collin, is that Demetrius Harris?
64, yes.
God, he's gotta work on his downfield blocking vision because that's.
Well, he's kind of like, you go there, and then if I can kind of peel back here, which is tough, I'm in space. But if they get this guy blocked, he may be able to tiptoe the sideline or just get inside that block, and maybe this thing goes. This is something I said on Slack that I don't know how it'll play here, but I think it's true. That I thought USF had to scheme more to score 7 against Temple than UCF did to score 63. Because if you go watch their game,
God. Ugh.
because
That
if you go watch their game, and all they're doing is throwing go routes and slants, and guys are housing it, and they're running inside zone and maybe a little bit of some same side counter stuff, which is kind of a cool scheme, but it's nothing crazy. But if I don't want to disparage players, but if this was, I don't know, one of those fast USF backs or UCF backs rather.
I was about to say, if that's Otis Anderson, that's
house,
95
right?
yards to the house. Easy.
So
if
you know,
that's
I mean,
Adrian
if that's
Killens,
any,
if that's Adrian Killens, he's running to Gandy. Like, I mean, it's over.
So I mean, it's
Gandy's the other way.
When I say it's close, well, he'll have enough time to run
you're
down
right.
and run back. So I'm saying like you're close. If bang, I get that and I cut up inside there, and maybe I turn and see that one. You know, that's the scheme of it. The scheme of it got you two blockers on one safety with your back running full speed, and you got 15 or whatever on 3rd and 7, which is great. It's a conversion, but when you're in a 0-0 ball game, you're hoping those go for touchdowns.
Seth, I think you said it before the film room, but I want to reiterate it. I think with the right personnel, and I hate that because it feels like I have to use that excuse almost every other year with USF except for the golden years. But with the right personnel, I mean, this offense is going to just devour the defenses in our conference because none of them are going to scheme. None of them can scheme properly to this. I can't think of a coach right now in our conference that can scheme for this and that it's intelligent enough to do this. Like, realistically, right now, I think Mike Norvell might just like lemon booty a victory out of it if we had the right players in place.
He may not be around for much longer. He may be moving
right?
on.
I'm just saying, Arkansas coach Mike Norvell.
Yeah, but like, I mean, you put the right guys in this offense. You know, not the guys that are here to run halfback dive every other play and go routes. You get the right guys here. The scheme's ready.
And that's kind of what that's what I always hope to show with these is here was the plan. And it's up to you whether or not you think it's a good plan. I think for the most part they've been pretty good plans. They just they've even tried to tweak it to what their guys can execute, but at a certain point, there's plays to be made out there. Somebody just got to make the play. So this is a 3rd down. I think later in the 2nd quarter. This is one where they're playing almost like a Tampa 2, and this is something they do where he's just going to turn around the middle of the field. They played like almost like a funky version of it. But right there, 3rd and 6, even with the pocket kind of collapsing, I can kind of just drop it right here and just get vertical because the Mike has left. He's vacated. And if I'm able to get a little bit more time, I have my back coming out here too. So this is just one where it's like, okay,
I wish I could zoom in on Collin during that.
This is one where it ends up being.
Throw the ball!
This is one where it ends up being like, oh my gosh, what is the offensive line doing? But the mic's gone. Put it on right there.
Throw the ball! You got 2 guys on a crossing route. You got 2 shallow.
He needs 6 yards. Just throw it. Let him get there because you'll see. He's beating this guy across face already. So if I'm getting the ball right here, he's got a chance. The next closest linebacker you'll see is Franklin down here. I've got time if I catch it right here to get vertical and get the 1st down, which is all I'm trying to do on 3rd down.
Joiner's there.
Yeah, you got either way. Yeah, if you had a little more time, I think that's what he wanted to do. But yeah, if you could just drop it to him, he's got some space.
Marcus Norman with a fucking body slam, by the way.
This might have been a hold. I think they called holding on. Yeah, they may have called holding.
Oh yeah.
And
well, don't even throw it because you know what? You're taking the penalty anyway.
And then Sam Franklin almost tackles a dude with another dude here with St. Felix. But that was one but that's like a simple one that, hey, just get the ball in your hands fast, just drop it off, and let's get the 1st down and live to fight another day. So
I wish we had a linebacker who had as much swagger and athleticism like Sam Franklin. Holy shit. Like, I've been just watching him, honestly, this entire film room.
He's pretty good. But yeah, that's what they said. I think all their. So this is a man beater. We've seen it with Johnny Ford against Georgia Tech. We saw it with Bryce Miller running it. You run him like he's running a speed out. Once this safety tries to get over the top, Now you come back, almost like a return. The safety jumping over the top. Bring him back to the middle. And, Mitch got his targets this week, so I'm sure everybody is really thrilled with the offense, right? Because that's all we were missing was getting him a bunch of targets.
Keeps Twitter happy.
Unfortunately, um, that's one less good blocker you've got. He can do both. Obviously, you'd like to get him as many targets as you can, but when you take him,
Seth, can we go back to that last one? Because that was just 2x2 on the outside. Oh, it's 2x2. Well, there is a safety there. So if that's safety, and actually that safety walks down a little bit too, Oh, there it goes. Okay, there it is. Thank you. All right, that makes sense. I was like, I saw the pre-snap look, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense because it looks like 3x2, but like, oh, okay. So
and then check out this pick. Check out the blitz pickup here. Pretty good. You got one coming late, but that's where that means that guy's gonna be wide open.
Right, you're throwing over the head of the guy who's coming at you.
That's pretty good.
The best place to go is to go where the blitzer's coming from.
And really good job by 135-pound or Kelly Joyner. This is a really good job. I don't. What was he, like 175?
100, and actually he's like 27 pounds, but his helmet weighs.
But I mean, 100. Look, this is great. He's not waiting in the backfield. He's going to attack the end. And yeah, he kind of sits at the line of scrimmage, but that's a really good job right there.
I mean, that dude's probably 2,000 pounds heavier than him.
Yeah, so that's a great job. That's a good sign. When you have a young guy pass protecting, that's always a good sign.
Also, it takes about an army of 27 Temple players to get Mitchell Wilcox down.
Yes, he is a grown man. And he played great. It's just, that's the tough part when he does so many things well. You can use him in a bunch of different ways, but sometimes, if you want him to go out for passes, well, then you may give up more sacks than you anticipated. So here's the touchdown, or not the touchdown, the long run right before half. So there's 2 minutes and 45 seconds left here. This is after a really bad punt, I think, right? Is this the one where they had a really bad punt, right?
Yep.
So I think this is Stud still here. He's going to get held like crazy. And I don't know how this isn't called. They kind of crack, and they are going to read the end here. So we're down. So kind of similar thing to what USF did with the jet. Your end squeezes down. The only thing I think could have been done better on this is the corner fits outside and it kind of turns this ball back inside. But the real problem is your safety is just getting mauled and held like crazy, and it doesn't get called. That's the biggest problem.
Seth, now, you said that's a read. Who's getting red here? Because I'm just want to make sure.
And then he's playing block. No, he's unblocked. He just squeezes when he sees block down. He squeezes.
Who's that pulling line? The pulling lineman
ends up hitting him, but he's reading.
Yeah, it's Greg Reeves, right?
Yeah. Since he squeezes it down, he ends up running into the puller. But they're reading him. If he would have widened, that pulling guard would have come here for the backer.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So he's kind of blocked down, closed down. Some people play it like that, and then your linebacker's got a chance to make the play. And then your safety, you can see right here, is getting just mauled.
I was about to say
the only thing, obviously, you'd like to make this play in the backfield because you have an open lane. Because this guy's coming for your backer, and the end smokes him. So the end does a good job. You got your linebacker pretty much free here to make the play. I think the only other thing they could have done is maybe the corner keeps outside and turns the ball back in. But the biggest thing is this guy got just killed and held. And
I was about to say, Devin did the exact thing you're supposed to do if you're getting held as a defensive player, and that's to throw your arm, whatever arm you have free, throw that thing out and show where you're getting held. And I'm pretty sure the ref is at the top of the screen just staring at him.
And then you kind of get sucked inside here, and you let him get outside leverage on you. But this is really all should have been called back with the holding. But you can't give up that. You can't give up that outside leverage. And then they score 2 plays later, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the second half. So basically, here's kind of the same idea as the play Temple just ran, really. in the play they ran in the first half is I'm going to read the end here, pull around. It's basically I'm running power just a little bit differently. I'm going to run toss read. So this is something Clemson used to like to do a lot with Deshaun Watson. He goes with the toss. Well, now I keep it, and I have my guard pulling right there for the other backer in the box. Now I don't really get much of a block from this receiver here.
Jannard
Literally
Phillips.
no
Jannard. If Jannard takes that guy's head off, that's a second level play.
Yeah.
I mean, Jannard just whiffs it, right?
He doesn't really use his hands here, which has been a theme with him, unfortunately. But yeah, so here's the idea behind the play. I read that guy. He goes out. Now I get McLeod, who's a good runner, downhill. Get a pretty good block there. If I get this one, now I've got a really good play. Instead of 5 yards, maybe I get quite a few more. So another one, it's like, you're watching, you're like, well, this isn't too far off from being really good, but it only counts as a 5-yard run on the stat sheet.
Okay, so this is probably a better podcast question than it is a film room question, but like at some point, how much accountability do you have to give to the play calling, knowing that these guys can't execute this kind of offense? I mean,
well, this isn't like they're not asking them to do a lot. I mean, like block,
right?
Just block the guy.
Jannard, reach for the guy who's cutting inside there, and let your quarterback bounce outside and get to the second level. Like
lay hands on him before he makes the tackle.
right.
So some of it's like not. I mean, I think you may see more quick passing with Jennings like probably being out. I guess is kind of they haven't made a determination. I guess, but if he's out, you'll see some changes. But some of it's like, I mean, this is Division I football. You got to do your job. I mean, we're not asking you to do anything crazy. Like here's another example.
Mm-hmm.
This is the fumble. We'll let it run through real quick. Yes, obviously better ball security. But did we see who makes the play? So here's the design of the play. I'm blocking the corner. And then we're getting out here in this funnel. The corner actually goes unblocked, and he kind of creeps behind. So I'm here. What is this? Terrence Horn, right?
Yep.
I'm Terrence Horn. I'm thinking, all right, that corner's blocked. I got to look through here. I got 2 guys released. He's coming back to kill somebody on the backside. He's the rat killer. I'm looking inside. I got the linebacker here. I'm going for the safety there. So linebacker, safety. So let's run it back real quick. You can see before. Linebacker and safety is who we're coming to. So I'm Terrence Horn. I'm thinking that corner's blocked. I'm looking upfield. Obviously, you want to tuck the ball away. The corner is not blocked, unfortunately.
Who's the slot on the near side? Is that
Bryce Miller?
Is that Miller?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so here you can see just missed his block. But, and this is 2nd and 22. Right now I'm at worst I got Terrence Horn one-on-one with I think it's Franklin, but he's 10 yards downfield. So if I pick up 10 yards on 2nd and 22, that's not bad. If he makes a miss, well, maybe something good happens. Instead, I miss my block on the corner. That's what I'm saying. It's not like this is like, all right, you got to beat double coverage and you got to make a perfect throw, and that's how we can score points. It's like, no, just block the corner. You don't even have to be a great block. Just slow him down. And obviously, you want better ball security, but he's kind of looking ahead and he's thinking that guy's gone. It's just kind of one of those things where that guy really comes out of nowhere to him.
I mean, I hate to say it.
He doesn't realize he's in traffic.
I feel bad for Curran Bell because I feel like some of the Twitter faithful who aren't as football savvy are kind of throwing him under the bus, saying, "Why are you calling these plays and why are you calling this?" But what the fuck else is he supposed to call?
Yeah, this is safe.
This is the easiest
on film.
Yeah, this is the easiest play.
This is bad football.
Yeah, this is the easiest thing for a receiver to do is to block.
It's a safe play. It's an easy read for the quarterback. It's just a miss. And there's other times where Bryce has done a great job blocking, but unfortunately on this play he missed. But
there's always a miss on every. There's consistently a miss on every play. And look, Bryce Miller, get that kid a scholarship. He's been great for USF this year. No doubt, no question. He should be on scholarship. I'm not. But like, dude, the Olay here, and clearly that is a superior athlete from Temple, like who's making the play, and then the guy who scoops and scores is probably the best athlete on the field. So like, I get that, but I mean, the fact that we're getting out talented by a team from North Philadelphia is like that's a reflection on all of USF football as holistic. Film.
Where's the guy that took the touchdown back from? He's not from North Philadelphia.
He's from Florida. He's from right up the road.
He's from North Citrus County.
Dude, Ventrell Bryant kicked our ass 2 years ago, it was last year. Ventrell Bryant.
Yeah, last year.
I'm like, that kid went to Jefferson, like 6 miles down the road from 10 miles down the road from your, university. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's the only thing that discourages me somewhat about some of the coaching staff is, Iowa State recruits certain counties better than USF does that are within like a 40-minute radius of the campus. That's not great. I understand
it's
a P5.
To be less than ideal.
I understand it's a P5, but they're offering juniors and stuff that you're not offering. Like they're offering people before you do. That like they're building their relationship before you do, and then they have the P5 thing, right? So here's a guy you probably might see get the ball a little bit more.
I was about to say I love everything about Xavier Weaver's game.
Right there.
I think
sexy.
Here's the touchdown drive. And This is a great job blocking by. You got the tight end getting out there. Great adjustment by the back. This is a really good adjustment by the back. Now the receiver ends up blocking nobody. So, it could always be a little bit better, I suppose. But really good job, I think, the adjustment here. I'm trying to reach. I have a receiver up here. You can see they kind of cut it. So then I could go get safety. He ends up blocking nobody. The back does a really good job of getting up inside. I'm not sure if he's taught. The play, typically you want to reach that and then he's outside, but they do a really good job of kind of stringing this guy out, and the back gets inside, and then this is Xavier Weaver, right?
Yep.
Does a really good job following his blocker, and he shows here's a guy that's a little explosive. So you don't have many of those guys, so get him the ball as much as you can. And he still gets run down by Sam Franklin.
I was about to say Sam Franklin.
Who is right here.
If St. Felix makes this block right there, it's gone.
Yeah, if he blocks him and now I can he's going for nobody, well then, I don't have to slow down as much. But this is still he's got some explosiveness, but still he gets sucked in by a linebacker.
Fun fact about Xavier Weaver, and the reason why I like him so much, he is the first player from his high school ever to go to an FBS program.
There you go.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Is this the Wilcox catch?
No, so this is at halftime, I was, my thing, talking to Nate and, was, hey, they're probably going to have to run McLeod a little bit more. So this is kind of the adjustment you'll see when he's got to start, because in the first half, there were times where he could have pulled it and there was nobody left out there, and he didn't. Early in the second half, we showed some of his runs. So here's the next adjustment they're going to make to that is, I think they're just going to probably scrape exchange where they basically trigger a bad read they just tell this guy, go get the dive. So the quarterback pulls it, and now I have two guys actually scraping over the top for the quarterback. The linebacker and the safety coming down to Phil.
People did this to Quentin a lot. When we would run zone read in this spot, like Quentin they would scrape over a whole lot.
So you'll probably start to see that if he pulls it more, but this should give you chances for play action. As you see here, the safety comes to Phil. If you can make him pay down the field.
Do we dare run an RPO with this offense?
They ran a few in the game.
God.
They ran a
God
couple.
help us.
So this is kind of when people are, kind of down. It's like, this is going to be slot fade, I think. This is the one to Wilcox, right? Let's let it run. Yeah. This is basically slot fade with your tight end. which I don't think I've ever seen before. So they're figuring out a bunch of different ways. So the motion here kind of confirms the coverage. He's going to run away from the safety. He's going to run a slant, I think, and then he'll end up running to the flat. So it's really almost that. It's basically the same thing as that snag play they like to run, where it's that kind of that slant and sit, somebody in the flat and then somebody in the corner. Just run a little bit differently.
This is just switch. This is just Spider 2 wide banana with a switch, isn't it?
This is just what they like to run a lot is that.
God bless you for knowing that.
Yeah, I think this is just
which is not
Spider 2 wide banana with a switch. Yeah,
which is not too just this is kind of a snag concept, but it's the same idea. Is they got the guy in the flat. That's usually run off of power action, where you got the fullback in the flat, somebody on the corner, and somebody sitting in this intermediate area, right? It's the same idea, but yeah. So instead, they like to run this a lot with Wilcox, the snag. It's basically for the quarterback. The read is pretty much the same, except instead of running a corner route, I'm going to run right to the spot where the corner route would hit. He'll kind of run a slant instead of sitting because it's man coverage. He'll still run there. But what I thought was, interesting is because they've been running a corner route with him a lot and he hasn't thrown it much. Maybe this is easier to see for him and it lets him see the ball longer. They put the safeties to the field here. They have a wing tight end there. So you got the safety
before you run this.
Field. Yeah.
Hey, so they're in bear here. This looks like a bear front for them. Are they gonna? I'm gonna guess here that they're just gonna leave that boundary side outside end, so that of the 5 guys on the line, the top guy, are they just gonna leave him unblocked here? And that's just sort of the read. Is that kind of or does that?
I think they might slide
here.
that. I think they might slide that way and keep him in. So they might just slide everything that way and keep him in. I think so. Just kind of the reason I think you're seeing this look from Temple is I think the very first drive, which we missed. My cameraman's getting a flogging for missing the first drive. But
aren't you the cameraman?
No, I'm not. I have somebody tape the game for me while I'm there.
We should really get a guy with a camcorder and stick him in the all 22 box inside the scoreboard. That would really make this a lot easier, probably.
It would help a lot. So I think the first drive they hit Wilcox on the speed out. So what they started doing when he was attached is putting a guy outside of him and taking away that speed out. So the third and 3 that McLeod ends up throwing high, and then the 4th and 3 he throws it just long on this exact same concept. They motioned the back out, thought they would get this guy, I think, out. He ends up staying. So they basically are taking away the speed out. So I think that's why you're seeing this kind of front structure when Wilcox is in line, because they want to take away this outbreaking quick stuff. So what do they call? They call somewhere he runs right by him, and then he stays on him in like man coverage. So I don't know if they do slide here, but he ends up getting taken away because he plays man on Wilcox. And a good release. He's kind of like, oh crap, he runs with him late. Then that's all you got to do is give him a chance because he's such a good player.
That's such a good throw too. That's a really good throw.
Yes.
Like he lays that in. The only guy who can make that play. Yeah.
And you see where the safety is at the snap. He's got to turn and come all the way back here. And since he's running away from him, fading, which is the slot fade, which is the concept, for people that have been watching since the very beginning, that's what McDoom hit against South Carolina State was the slot fade where he was running away from the safety. And Jordan did a good job laying it in there just like he does here. Really good throw, really good catch. So here's a drive where you got 2 explosive plays.
And I think the most important part is how good that picture that I got of Wilcox was right at the top there again.
That's true, dude. That is pretty good. So, so here's what you get.
And the scheme is here too. Oh, I was going to say the check down is there too. Because, look, if Kronk, if for some reason Wilcox, if they drop and go with Wilcox, Kronk has that. I mean, it's like,
just give it to him right there.
In the flat to go, right.
Yeah. And Mitchell Wilcox probably destroys someone's entire soul on a crackback block there if he throws it to Kronk.
And so, Collin, you were asking how they're going to block it up. What they end up doing is going down, and then pulling the center to even sell the run even more.
Seth,
So
I have a question for you.
that really gets you play out of these guys.
So,
Yeah, it's a really good scheme.
And really good
because
catch. Really good throw. Yep.
who was is it
Where
Russ?
are you? Are you
Someone,
here?
yeah,
Oh, hold on.
there I am.
Is that you?
That is me.
There you go.
That's a
And
great shot.
you can
Dude,
see
it looks like you.
what?
I was gonna say it looks like you haven't moved the whole game.
Oh no, I just there's actually
the same exact spot.
it is, and
Exactly the same spot.
I think that's like 45 minutes after the fact too. So if I was sitting there the entire time, yeah, God bless my right knee because that thing's probably fucking dead at this point. No, but Seth, I do have a question for you because I think I actually might be an opinion. I think we might be seeing a little bit of galaxy brain by Kerwin Bell because I know in those post game interviews and conferences, someone always asks, how are we going to get Mitchell Wilcox more involved? How are we going to get Mitchell Wilcox more involved? And now that we're seeing these plays where Mitchell Wilcox is really, taking as the number one receiver and getting the ball to him more, is Kerwin doing this on purpose going into these last couple games to keep these teams like, hey, he's still like a viable target. We're going to throw to him if you choose not to double cover him.
I mean, I think what he's really thinking is, okay, they're giving me man coverage. Who can win against man? So far, it's Mitch Wilcox and Bryce Miller, and that's kind of it. So I think it's more of that, like, okay, now this is obviously schemed to give him a chance. Like I said, it's basically slot fade to the tight end, which I don't think I've ever seen anybody run before. So because the slot fade, you really it's basically giving you a go route on a safety or, not a guy, not a corner. So you kind of feel like sometimes you'll just move a guy in there, your best receiver into the slot, let him run it. You get him matched up with somebody that's not a corner typically, and it's a good matchup. So I think you are seeing him just kind of feature him because he is their best player in the passing game, and he can win against man. I mean, I think if you're going to leave him single covered, he'll probably get his fair share of balls thrown his way. So if you aren't going to double cover him, then he'll get some shots. Because I don't think he really schemes everything necessarily to go to one guy. I think it's like, okay, here's the play. If this guy's single covered, that's the look. But if they double cover him, okay, well, then here's the other things off of it. So it's not necessarily, I think, where he's scheming it to get the ball exactly to one guy. He makes him the primary read, maybe. But, it's still, if they cover it, there's other answers too.
Shouldn't the primary goal of this season honestly be to get Mitch Wilcox as a day 2 pick, to put enough film on here so that, I mean, you're not making a bowl game at this point, that you got to win 2 of your last 3. That's not happening. Like, I would really love to see Mitch just get a chance to really showcase all of his skills in these last 3 games.
And you know what I bet a lot of people wanted to see from him? And you block in the run game.
Right. No,
So,
and that's
I don't
something
think
he's
people want to
done.
hear that, but I think that's I think that's probably going to help him a lot. Is he's shown that he's a willing and capable blocker, which I don't know if what the rap was on him coming into the year.
Dude, you should have seen him last year. They had him lined up in like what we were calling the 0.5 position, but is sort of like almost like a flex flanker, lined up behind the offensive line, just to sort of cracking people, and he did a fantastic job with that. So. I would
he's
really.
He's got to show in line and a bunch of stuff. So I mean, I think the hope is to get him the ball as much as you can, and then, but if they do take him away, he may end up looking like a decoy, which against ECU he kind of was. They were running what looked like kind of RPO type stuff where they release him outside and have him arc block, and he'd take 2 guys with him, and now it opened up the run game stuff really big. So I mean, it's kind of I think there are times where they use him as kind of where he could be considered a decoy, but it's really like if you don't cover him, we're going to throw it to him. If you single cover him, we're going to throw it to him. All right, if you double cover him, okay, thanks, you just opened up something for us, which is how you're hoping.
Yeah, I was gonna say with apologies to guys like Chris Iskra and Casey Cobb. It's not even close that he is by far the best tight end that USF has ever had. And if you look at the numbers, they don't really jump out at you, but the abuse of him in this system for the last 4 years has been, I mean, we're talking D'Ernest Johnson levels of abuse of a talented player. Those of us who watched Ernest, in 2017, and a little bit in 2016, but especially in 2017, were like, this is by far the best football player that we've had in a while, and just never got used. And I think Mitch is slowly starting to crawl into that category. He just does everything, and we're not.
I think if he'd have been in this system for 4 years, he would have
Absolutely.
He'd have every record by a extreme margin because he's pretty close. He's pretty close, even so. But he'd have it kind of running away. I think in a lot of it. So I think this might be the last play here, which is the touchdown. So this is, I think, maybe the very next play. Pretty good job right here. Really good job here by McLeod. But the design is, okay, we've run that toss and the toss read a few times. Where we're here, we're reading the end, right? We're pulling the guard. We've run that 2 or 3 times now. So now we're going to run a play action look off of it. And McLeod does a really good job here of resetting and getting away, feeling that pressure, making a really good throw. And there's our boy, Bryce Miller, right there, who he's not the best in the open field with the ball, but he knows how to get open.
And Brad Cecil just totally whiffed here, didn't he? Like,
I was about to say,
because he goes out with the toss fake, and he missed. That guy got upfield in a hurry, but this is a really good job right here. So these are the things by McLeod that make you think, okay, well, maybe there's something here, right? Because right there, he doesn't just sit there; he would get waxed. He kind of takes another step back, ready to throw, and delivers a really good ball for the touchdown.
That was definitely a miss by Brad, but I think that kind of stutter step to the outside probably messed up what upfield momentum that Brad was getting there. Also, the graphic in the bottom right corner is probably the worst thing I've ever seen in my life of the first red zone trip with a minute left in the third quarter.
So no knock on Brad here. It's game 9. You're a center. You've been probably beat up as much as anybody this season, especially in this offensive line. God only knows how healthy that kid is. Like, maybe we want to point out that, these are college kids. They're doing the best that they can. We don't know how they are in terms of health. It does look like Brad missed on a couple of plays that we've broken down tonight, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's a bad player or anything like that. He could be out there trying to grind it out too.
He is coming off something at ECU, isn't he? So he is coming off an injury this game. I believe he left the ECU game, and then I don't think they brought him back. But he gets a kind of a piece of him, and that's all he ended up needing right here. So, and again, that's off the toss read they ran a few times. And just for the, if you want to see the design of it, it's here. He's running a post. He almost runs like an out and up. He's kind of the wheel guy. And then I think you have the back just carrying out the toss fake as the check down.
This is an air raid concept.
And then I think
this is some like loop sit right here. This is an air raid concept.
I think this is like their favorite play action concept, especially in the red zone. Is it's basically smash, but I'm bringing the corner out from the opposite side. So the corner sits up here. I got this guy coming across the field, especially off play action where I'll pull the safety down. You can see the corner jumps up. So now you pretty much have from there over is for this crossing route, and you get a good throw and a really good catch. So put him on scholarship, right?
Absolutely.
There you go. A really good catch. So I think that's the last one. Yep, that was the last one of the film room for today. There's probably a lot more we could watch, but we've already gone probably a long time.
All right, Seth, final thoughts here before we wrap it up here.
Like I said,
defend your coaching staff.
It's close. You can see there's the plays being called, I think, there's always, every game, there's a couple you'd like to have back. Like we talked about the first play for Temple, we showed that 4th down. They might like to have that call back. There's always a couple you'd like to have a call back. But for the most part, I think you're seeing the play calls, if executed, are for the most part, pretty good calls. There's creativity. It's not just, that's the frustrating thing for me is you'll watch other teams play and they're just running inside zone, and that's it. They'll run split zone maybe if they want to get spicy with it, and then it's a go route, it's a slant, it's an RPO. That's it, and then they're rolling up points because if a guy breaks a tackle, he's gone. So that's like more of they've recruited really well. The scheme isn't there. So to me, I like to look at the scheme. To me, the scheme is there. They're just trying to find the pieces to put in the right spots. And guys being suspended, guys being hurt, you're kind of still searching for guys to fit those roles perfectly. And they may not be on the roster. Those really good fits. They may be coming down the line. But I think all I think you can look at are the plays being called. Are they setting the guys up to succeed? And if they don't succeed, is that on the coaches who maybe put them in a position where if they execute, they're succeeding, or is that on the players at that point? And that's kind of for you to decide after watching.
So this is the chicken and egg argument of every football team. Look, there is just not enough talent on this team. Like, we can see the plays that we break down, that there's just not enough good players. If we were doing this in 2016 and 2017, we would see guys like Rodney Adams, Dernis Johnson, Marlon Mack, that could just make plays, offensive linemen that were probably a little bit more talented and just skill guys all over the field. And by the way, number 9, who was best player in program history and completely untackleable, even in a phone booth. I think it's tough to extrapolate the scheme against the talent that you have. Even, as deep as we're going here, I think it's really tough sometimes to see how much are they customizing this scheme to the talent and the personnel that they have. It clearly looks like, like you said, that slot fade concept to Wilcox. That's not something you ever see a tight end. You don't see tight ends catching the ball in that spot on the field, like, ever.
Not running a fade. Like, I've never, like I said, when I saw it on the field, I'm like, is that slot fade? I've never seen it to a tight end before. Usually you're putting your little fast guy there. Yeah, so they're trying to fit it to what they have. They just sometimes
how's
don't
that
have
working
out? What else do you want them to do?
Yeah, I want them to recruit better players. I want better players playing for a program.
That's the answer. Is some of this stuff would have been solved in recruiting, and I think you see on the defensive side of the ball how they solved it in recruiting was bringing in transfers, older guys that have played. There's not really many of those on offense, and one of them, Jacob Mathis, did not play because he was sick. So there was also some of that we didn't show where, the third string tight end came and he was not very good in the blocking. He was not a great blocker. So a lot of the 12 personnel stuff they wanted to do, which was probably heavily in the game plan with Mathis being out with a virus. That could have been something that came on late. Some of that stuff stuck in, and your third string tight end wasn't able to block anybody. And he wasn't even on the front side. He was on the back side. He missed cutoff blocks a ton and gave you backside penetration to kill some of your run game stuff. But yeah, I think, you've obviously got to try to fit stuff as best you can to talent, but, the players got to make plays when they're presented to. It's kind of a two-way street.
So thank you very much for watching this film room for the last hour and 20 minutes. Our basic philosophy is recruit better football players because that will solve everything.
Save us, Tate Rodemaker.
It never hurts to have the best player.
Yeah, we could. So we need some. I think this is what we've resolved with all of this tremendous scheme and in-depth breakdown is USF needs better football players or else they're not going to win anytime soon. So build your indoor practice facility. Everybody go right now to bullsclub.com and go donate to the IPF because we're not going to be able to recruit better players that are going to be able to execute this stuff anytime soon. I agree with you, Seth. I think the scheme looks like it's there. And this is the type of offense and the type of concepts that you can win with in Florida because you don't need 350-pound offensive linemen that are plugging people. You need high 3-star, low 4-star kids that can run for days, that have an elite athletic skill. That's what this program should be. It should be about pace and space and spreading out the field.
And you don't
if you don't have the player,
you don't need the 6'4", 5-star receivers. I just need somebody that is fast and that gets in and out of cuts.
Correct.
And then I can make, I don't have to recruit the high 4-star, 5. I just need to recruit the scheme fit. which
Right.
in Florida there's a lot of speed in Florida.
Yep.
What?
Not a lot of it has found its way to Tampa. There's a lot of speed around.
Well, Terrence Horn's out there. That gets pretty quick, especially before
there is some of it, but there's been way too many times that you're playing a team and you don't have the most explosive player on the field. And being from Florida, that's kind of strange when you're playing, Navy.
We're playing simple, and they got better athletes on defense than we do on offense. What in God's name? Like, that's insane. Steeg, bitch about this for me.
That's bad.
Thank you for listening thank you for coming to the Illuminati Film Room this evening. We appreciate everybody. Again, that's Matrix Hormones, 813-333-2226. Thanks again to our sponsors, Matrix Hormones, 813-333-2226. The Bulls take on Cincinnati at what time? It's 7 o'clock kick, right?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. That means lots open at 2. Tailgate heavily because you're going to need it. I bet on this game before the season started, and I bet on Cincinnati, and I got 7.5 points. And right now, I can go on any website in America, and I can get Cincinnati laying 14.5 points with the old 22-point middle right down Broadway, which shows you how much Cincinnati has beat expectations and how much USF has failed to meet expectations. There's a reason we picked Cincinnati to win the division before the season started. Nate and I are smart. You should listen to this podcast. All right, kids. Thank you for listening. This was painful. We're probably going to do this again at least twice more. And then if UCF rolls us, we're not doing this for the UCF game because it's not going to matter. We're not going to a bowl game, right? We're not doing this for UCF. Are we? I can't get through that. If they roll us by like 40 points, I am not sitting here and watching the film.
Doesn't this make you feel better, though?
How? We don't have any good players.
Yeah,
that's a serious problem.
Because the players can change. If the scheme is right, you can get other players.
But
if this free agent market is there, that transfer portal is ready and primed for the picking right now.
Hey,
wouldn't you rather have look and see? Okay, there is a plan. Okay, these guys that are getting paid are not just stealing money and running the same 2 plays over and over. You know what I mean? They are trying. They're doing everything they can. There is a
Collin,
plan.
it could be worse. We could have lost to Tulsa.
It's true.
That's true.
That's
but
very true.
But here's the problem. Like, we're excited about this, but none of this is going to matter if Charlie gets let go and they, I would love to see Kerwin stay because I agree with you, Seth. I love this scheme. I love the recruiting that he's done. He's winning kids that we need to win with in this scheme. But if they go out and hire an outside coach, are they going to be able to say, hey, by the way, this guy's under contract for 2 years. Do you mind having him as your offensive coordinator, which is only the most important position on your staff? Yeah. I hope that they do. I hope they can find someone that can galvanize this program and also wants to fold into what Kerwin's doing. But man, we're 4-5 right now and stare at 4-8 pretty strong in the face. And I don't know, you know what I mean? Look, if I thought this out, if you put up more than 7 points and you wanted, if we're losing games 63-32, then I could go, all right, well, this defense sucks, but at least the offense can move the ball a little bit. Maybe you could promote the guy who won the Division II national championship last year. But you're putting up 7 points a game.
My only pushback to that, because I'm obviously in the tank for Kerwin, and not just because.
What? What? You are not an unbiased journalist here, Seth?
That's not. I never proposed that I was. But I had coached for a long time, and he's won a lot. But my thing with him is that's why when I look at these, he came in late January. He didn't recruit any of these players, I don't think. I mean, he got to throw in a couple pitches, but all these guys that signed in the early signing period, he had nothing to do with them. The guys that signed in the regular signing period, I don't know how much he had to do with them because of how late he got here. So if all you can look at to judge him by is scheme, that's kind of how I feel about it. And obviously, like I said, I have some biases, but I think if you're being fair, and if a guy didn't recruit any of the players that are here, and he has to call plays, well, all you can judge him on are the play calls. And the play calls look pretty effective. He didn't bring the players in that aren't executing them. So now, is that going to be enough? I don't know. But that's kind of how I look at it. If I'm being fair, and I'm always, like I said, I always have some biases, but if you're judging a coach that didn't recruit any of the players, what can you judge them on? Well, I can judge them on the plays that are being called. Well, are those good? Yeah, I'd say mostly. So, that now, like I said, I don't know if that's going to be enough if somebody else comes in, but that's how I like to look through it. Is he calling the right plays? And is he trying to fit his scheme, which I think they're already, you can see, if you went back and watched game 1 to now, they're doing some different stuff. But
yeah,
that's how I look at it.
So I'm going to do this horrible thing that I really don't enjoy and say, save the rest for the podcast, because I'd really like to have an in-depth discussion about this. And I completely agree with you. I think the economics of the situation are a factor, and the political tenability of the situation is a factor as well. But we'll save that for the pod. This is supposed to be about the players on the field and the scheme that we saw.
Call that a tease in the business.
Illuminati podcast, also sponsored by Matrix Hormones. All right, guys, go Bulls.
Speaking of teasing, go Bulls.
Go Bulls.